Hi, what's up, everybody? This is JT Seaboy coming at you with the Culture Stream podcast. I am joined with my co-hosts, my brothers here, Mr. Tonez Phelan and Mr. Jude Phelan, both representing the Young Bear Singers.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yate, this is Nelson.
Shout out to Nelson, the other Young Bear bro. And today we have a special guest with us hailing from Oklahoma. Also representative of the up-and-coming Southern drum group who kind of basically put out their own type of a style of singing. I would like to call it Southern Contemporary. I think we would all agree with that, Southern Contemporary. Yeah. Known as the Blazing Bear Singers, Mr. Roger Davis, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. My name's Roger Davis. Like you said, I came from Oklahoma. I've been singing with Blazing Bear since 2022, and we came up here this year to the Four Bears Powwow to come and join in the festivities with y'all.
Spread some jam.
Nice. Well, today's topic, I think we all know pretty well. We are going to talk about powwow pet peeves, whether it be from the view of a singer, spectator, or whatever it may be. But we all know those little things that just kind of get under your skin, like people who set up chairs and don't even use them all freaking weekend.
yeah, that's the one right there.
People that set up blankets 2 hours before the powwow even starts.
I think it's 4 hours.
4 hours. And yeah, that's right. We got the Four Bears Powwow going on this weekend. So we have some festivities going on over here and getting ready for that. So it's going to be a good weekend here. But
yeah, let's do it, man.
So let's get down to it. Who wants to open us up over here?
I'll go first. One of the biggest pet peeves is when they sell alcohol at powwows.
On the sneak or out front?
No, a bootlegger. No, just kidding.
Where do they sell booze at? Or what'd you said booze? Alcohol?
Yeah.
Concession stands?
In Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that comes with the story too.
What?
Well, one year, I think it was 2020, Florida. They was getting the announcer was getting one hyped up, and there's a video out there of what happened. But I war hooped, and then this guy behind me war hooped, so I war hooped louder, and this white guy hollered louder, and so we was going back and forth. And then pretty soon I started getting hyped up, and I was like, "Use your man voice," and I was like, "Woo!" real loud. And then pretty soon he comes back and he tries to catch like the high pitch and the loudness of what I had, and he couldn't. And so we were sitting in. This guy, Jude, was sitting at the drum, and that guy standing behind him, and they have those like barriers, those metal barriers. And this guy's like starts war hooping, and he's just like warping through the whole grand entry.
It was the grand entry. It was the thing opening, and he starts talking about having grand entry because they didn't even start dancing in yet.
Yeah, no. But remember, he starts war hooping during grand entry, and then this guy's like, "Hey, man, be quiet." Like he was war hooping in his ear.
Like right behind me, bro. Like right behind me.
And this guy's like, "No, man, be quiet. I'm trying to just." And he was like, "Whoa, whoa," like that,
giving the old Ric Flair.
Yeah. And then he was drinking too, so you could smell the booze coming off his breath. And I was like, "Hey, man, just chill out,
Yeah.
And he fucking started war hooping in my face, and I looked at him kind of a little bit pissed off, and that's when he got up and he was like, "What? I'll fuck you up." And I was like, so I stood up, and then he was throwing like he wanted to throw down at me, and I was sitting like right in my drum circle, and then he was just on the other side of that barrier, and he was like pretty like picking himself up off that barrier and like leaning over it. And that whole time I had, thoughts in my head like, I should just hit him right here, right now. I had all these thoughts going through my head like I should have did it. But I was like, no, I'm right here in my drum circle, just stand there and stand my ground. And then I seen security and the cops walking up, so I was like, to him, it looked like I was blowing kisses at him, but I was like pointing at the security, like that's him grabbing him, So that was on
you were blowing kisses.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
And that whole time, I was standing there and he was doing that. The grand entry was going in, so I had all these dancers were dancing by, and we were the first drum right next to grand entry, where the grand entry was. We were the number one drum right next to it.
Yeah.
So we were sitting, everyone that was coming in, grand entry was watching us, watching this confrontation. And like deep down, I was like, I could have hit him. He gave me all the opening chances to lay it in him and give him some good ones, And but the whole time I was thinking in my head, I don't want to go to jail. I'm in Florida, and I'll probably get us kicked out of here, And all these thoughts were going through my head right at my drum. So I didn't hit him. So I just let it go. But then later on, come to find out that when that was going on, they zoomed in the camera and we're on that big screen, that they put up in the back so everyone in the back can see. So they were zoomed in on us in that confrontation. I was just standing there looking at him dead in his face, like. And I had my fists were like ready to clinch, and I was just like looking at wait, when should I hit him? I didn't know, and then they're like, Jude, you're on the camera, and then I was like, fuck, I should have hit him. And then so I was sitting there, and then maybe about 2 minutes later, this guy, he's a grass dancer from Cali. What's the name? It's like right at the border of California and Arizona. There's a reservation right there.
Oh yeah, the T.O. res.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. He was standing there, and he came over and he had 4 cigarettes in his hand. And he put them in my hand, and he looked at me and he said, "Face is the enemy. Face is the enemy." And he said it 4 times. Face is the enemy. Face is the enemy. And he shook my hand and he walked away, and I looked at Tonez like, what the fuck just happened? And Tonez looked at me and he was like, I think he gave you an Indian name. And I was like, oh shit.
So Tonez starts the confrontation, but you get the Indian name.
No. I started the whole thing, and I took off running when he was trying to fight him. No, I'm just kidding.
Had to go bathroom real quick.
Yeah.
No, looked around, there was only one other bro sitting at the drum when all this shit happened. Tonez and the whole other crew went outside.
It was a smoke break time.
Yeah, and I was looking around.
Oh shit, it's gonna go down. Go smoke a cigarette.
But they ended up taking him away, though, that drunk guy. And come to find out, Howie Thompson was the announcer, and he heard about what happened. He was there announcing when it happened, and he said on the mic, he said, "This is a non-alcoholic powwow. Keep your beer and liquor outside." And he got fired for it. He got fired for saying that
because they sell
booze at the powwow.
Yeah.
Like having people come around with
crazy.
a cart and...
No, just at their concessions.
Oh, okay.
Like a beer garden.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And it's been like that for as long as I've been going to Florida, and that was like 2013.
And I think
14.
a couple of years before that, didn't Hokey get into the same confrontation with another drunk guy like that at his jump? Hokey
This year
Claremont?
you had to pay, just FYI.
You had to
Pay for your beer?
Yeah, you had to pay for everything.
Oh.
All right.
You had to pay for everything. this
Not the year that we went.
The year we had wristbands. I remember they came and gave us 40 wristbands.
So that year they gave us 40 wristbands, and they're like, all right, but you guys got to be here for 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock Grand Entry. And I looked at Wanda Bowers. I was like, man, if some of us don't make it, I said, don't get mad. She's like, oh no, go have fun, but at least have a couple guys there. There was, I think, 11 of us singing that weekend, and every morning there was only like 4 or 5 of us that day.
I didn't make one.
I didn't make one. Damn.
I'm not gonna lie.
and then One guy wasn't even part of the group, but he made all the morning singings.
But you gotta remember, this is when we were like young and crazy.
He had to put
now.
on though. He had to put on.
Yeah.
And everyone now is completely different characters from how they were in our crazy partying times. You know, we grew up, we did that, and now everyone's all acting grown up.
Yeah, I think everybody's sober nowadays.
But it was an epic 10 years of Powwow life.
Of wildness.
Yeah, and it's crazy because most people that don't see this side of Powwow, they don't ever experience. I look at like a rodeo, right? Same thing like rodeo. It's got the categories, and at the end, everyone goes and they go out and have a good time. Same thing with for a Powwow. Everyone gets off their outfits and they go experience some good times, you know, and have good hang out with their friends and laugh and joke around. Then they go back and then they gotta sober up the next day.
But some people don't even take off their outfits. They just go straight to the bar.
Oh,
I didn't see that yet. I haven't seen
that
that.
video in Canada.
Yeah.
Guy had his outfit on dancing at the bar in the
Damn.
club.
Yeah.
That's fucking Rezer. Take the Rezer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I think about people that don't really experience Powwow life the way we love it and experienced it. Because there's things that they see and they think but they never get the full experience of it.
Yeah.
And back to the pet peeves.
Yeah. Back to that. That was a whole 20-minute segment of going off track.
No, but that's true though. I mean, alcohol at powwows can be and is a pet peeve. You know,
Yeah.
we've grown up in a circle where they say drugs and alcohol is not allowed, and that's not until after the powwow's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the pet peeves here. I'm pretty sure Roger has something that kind of grinds his gears to say.
Yeah. So, just like I said, I've been traveling around with Blazing Bear recently, and a lot of the guys in the drum group like hot dogs for some reason. And I noticed, when someone comes back to the drum with a hot dog, everybody low key has their phones out, and that's not just with our drum group. I've seen that at plenty of drum groups that I've seen with, and it's like, can you just eat a hot dog in peace? Can you eat a banana in
You
peace?
see the camera come out.
Yeah, and then like a couple days later, you see it on social media, and it just blows up. And then you're viral.
From 3 drum groups down.
Yeah, from 3 drum groups down. The guy was taking a picture of you.
I remember back a few years ago that this freaking stupid ass Facebook page called like Powwow Gaggers.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking
I think
about.
that was Merv that started that.
A whole Facebook page. That's exactly what I'm
My
talking
ass
about.
ended up on there like 2 times, man. Fucking just eating a pickle like this.
Oh.
And that shit looks worse when you're trying to hide it.
Yeah. So bad.
How about that year? Remember one of those Orthian boys?
Oh yeah, the banana.
Yeah.
They gave out bananas at that powwow in Canada, Musquatchees. I can't remember the name of the powwow. Anyway, they gave out, they give out giveaway stuff, and they came to us. They gave us a basket of fruit. We were a host drum. We had like bananas and other things in there. And like at one, I started handing out the bananas to the singers. And when Aaron, he sat down, and the last banana was a little mini banana about 5 to 6 inches long. And he grabs it, and we all look at it, and we're all watching him. He's looking at that little banana, and he's looking at all of us, and we're all laughing. He peels that little banana, and he looks at us, and he says, "Real men eat their bananas like this," and he started eating it from the middle of the banana.
That's the same face right there. I remember one powwow, man, they gave out a powwow committee. They gave out sandwiches. And back then it was just like, that was such a big deal. It's just like, what's the deal with, like when it comes to hot dogs and bananas, like even sandwiches, people are like trying to sit there and eat them like that. And people are taking pictures like, come on, man, it's a sandwich. How can you get that wrong?
I think it comes down to how wide you open your mouth to eat that sandwich.
Why'd you close your eyes?
Why'd you push that sandwich to the back of your throat?
And see, that's how singers, being with all the bros, that's how we all kind of BS and talk. And it's the memories that we make like that. And I don't know. I know Jude has a good Powwow pet peeve of his that he wants to share with us.
Mine's probably just but it's probably not hating on them, but I guess it is probably hating on the
Here we go.
Here we go.
No, it's hating on the
Strap in.
the ones that make their own crazy ass outfits and come and jam out, and nobody, and they probably don't have any of the
You
right.
started out that way.
You mean the humble ones?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about like
The ones dancing for the.
like remember at Denver that one guy used to stand in the corner and he had like furs all over him and he would do that same little
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, so you're talking about like
Hobbyists.
hobbyist, yeah. Like come on, man.
I can find that a pet peeve too.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't be looking all fucking caveman. It's like you just came off a movie set.
Yeah.
There's also the ones that are like going back to that topic, like the ones that are disrespectful too. That you seen that video at Denver March where that lady just goes up and grabs the old boy's bustle
Yeah, I
and
seen that.
starts doing her thing, and it's just like, come on, man! Like, what gives you the right to do something like that?
Well, she found it on the prairie.
I guess that could be a pet peeve too. We could talk about, just seeing people that come into our circle and want to take part of it, but it's like they don't know how.
Yeah. They like one that kind of like really grinded my gears, and I seen it firsthand too. Was those what do they call it? Those, remember they were purple and gold or purple and yellow. What the hell they called that?
Those Israelis or something.
Yeah, those Israelites.
Yeah,
Black Israelites.
the ones that say that they're the first Native Americans.
Yeah, like I mean, it's pretty far fetched for them to say that about. I mean, to us, but I mean, it's just the fact that they're going to other powwows. Like I was at Swift Current. Yeah, Swift Current in Canada there.
That was recently, right?
Yeah, just recently, and I walked in. It was the first thing I seen when I walked in the powwow was they were all standing right by the front door. They all had their purple and yellow shirts on, and they were setting up a table. And I know what they preached. They preached that they were the first natives, and I don't know how the hell they ended up back in Africa from here, but
Was that at Thundering Hill?
yeah.
Yeah.
And the first thing I said, and I didn't like most. Not being disrespectful, but like just to see if they had permission to be preaching their ish there. And I just walked in and I said, "Are you guys allowed to be here?" And they all looked at me and they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." And then I went and told the security. I said, "Those guys got kicked out of Pine Ridge Reservation in Oregon, in a reservation in Oregon." I said, "And for preaching that stuff." So they start going down towards the announcer stand, and then about maybe 5-10 minutes later, they were gone, all of them. And I was like, if you really want to be native, most natives won't even check your blood. If you want to be part, like we got, Afro-Indigenous people on our res too, and we don't call them Afro-Indigenous people. We call them Hadatsas, Mandans, whatever blood they are, We don't judge them like that. But for them to come in and disrespect our way of doing things and trying to push their agenda on ours, like we already went through that shit with the first one, when they came in with the Christianity. We already went through that. Why would we want to go through it again? And then it's not even real, and to us, that means nothing. You could preach it day and night until you're blue in the face, and we still would be like, well, here we go, back to our ways, So that's why I'm like, that kind of gets on my. But if they came in right and did it the right way, like that white guy up in that Ukrainian dude, he went in and he asked people, "Can I come to your powwow?" And yeah, it's for everyone, but just the way you come about it is what matters in people's eyes. If you're in there disrespecting, being ignorant,
He got a pass though because he was walking around saying he's looking for an auntie.
I think that's a pet peeve for me.
Aunties?
No. It's It's like how some like the women say we're looking for an uncle, or how you say it?
Like kind of like the slang, or
Yeah.
like
It's like, well, dang, I can't call my auntie anymore. I can't call my uncle anymore. You know what I mean? It kind of ruined the word.
kind of comes off as like sexist.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
It's like, damn, you guys ruined that.
It's like, how do people from outside view that? You know what I'm saying? You don't see Mashies, white people saying, you know, hey, I'm looking for an auntie.
Well, you do hear him say, I'm looking for my sister. Redneck.
That's further south.
Yeah.
Southeast.
Southeast. That's not Oklahoma south.
Yeah, that's not Oklahoma South. Let's get that right on the microphone here.
But no, that's a good point. I mean, some things like that I've seen that a lot, and a lot of like, oh, you know, I'm just an auntie going to look for a nephew, and it's just like,
Yeah, you do, man.
like saying that is just like, what's
Kind of raunchy.
It's like it's like you don't say, you know, I'm an uncle going to look for a niece, you know, like going back like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's
Don't make it right.
it doesn't, it doesn't, man.
This is one of my pet peeves. Like, it's just because I'm a singer too, but when you're in the singing competition and then they wait to announce the drums after the dance competition.
Yeah.
I'm always just like, man.
Especially if you're Southern, because Southern's always after Northern.
Right.
Yeah.
For real, though.
Just like this year at gatherings, they booed Derek.
Man.
Uncle Derek.
He was like, can we
I remember that. When he they said we're gonna do the singing contest first, and he's like, no, we're gonna do it after.
Yeah.
And it was like, boo.
Yeah.
And that's real though. I mean, Southern, yeah, you know,
he had
you
like
guys
some
gotta-
committee members up there. He's like, can we get a round of applause? Can I have the drums hit their drums when I say these people's names? And nobody hit their drums, bro. That was jacked up, man. Just crickets in the expo center. I was like, oh.
Not Cricket Shields.
Oh, he was there. He was there.
the drums made their stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Wait, it is though, because like a lot of the singers don't dance,
Yeah.
and we have to sit there and wait till the very last.
And
go.
there's more than one person in
Yeah.
the drum group. So
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of like, as a singer, you know, $10,000, yeah, it's good money. But as a singer, when you have 12 people, you know, you got to divide that 10,000 12 ways, which equals up to about what, 800 each, or you know, give or take. But
hold on, carry the 9. Divide.
we're not math experts here.
I'll just say, yeah.
Just, you know, so just let you know.
I'm just kind of nodding my head, yes, this whole time.
wait. Remainder of 4. Bring that down.
But you look at like
Square root of pi.
dancers, you know, they win 1,500 to 2,000, and that's take home 1,500 2,000 by themselves. You know, it's just like if singers could get that type of prize money, man, that would be sweet. But yeah, I guess for me that's like a pet peeve when they say like, you know, people are like, well, why do we pay drum groups that much? You know, why do we gotta shell out this much money? Because it's like, we all know without the singers,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be no dancers.
You need a rocking drums to have a rocking powwow.
Yep.
I'm not cutting the bad on the non-rocking drums, but that's what I'm saying. And if you're a non-rocking drum and you know who you are, I'm sorry.
He said,
Well, I'm just trying to be fair. Like, you know, that's if you want to rock power, you
practice
gotta
up,
have
boys, practice up.
you gotta have a wicked drum line to have a good powwow.
Yeah. And drum groups, they're important because they bring in certain people. Drum groups do have fans, and
Yep, they do.
and Brother Jude was expressing how, like, you know, it's like a rock star type thing. You know, there's drum groups that actually have like a rock lifestyle, and along with that comes fans. And for one, we know Blazing Bear, you know, they're probably like everybody's favorite Southern group at the moment. You know, they make awesome songs, and their style is it's a style of its own. And like I said, it's been deemed Southern contemporary, and it's electrifying, and it lifts people up, and that's what singing does, and that's what it should do, you know. And I mean, like, having a powwow with like two drum groups that don't really bring that flavor, that vibe, it could get kind of dry.
Yeah.
So that's why singing is important, and 10,000 first place, that's cool. You get the chip, but it's just like, for us it's work.
Right.
It's to the next powwow, we rely on relatives to stay with, and as singers we make a lot of family through the drum and staying, like one summer I used to live in Minnesota, and I had people come through, stay with me for weeks at a time, just till the next powwow. And that's how life of a singer. It's like you find family and you make lifelong friends, and then you have a place to go. You're always taken care of, and I think that's kind of the reason I would like to see drum groups be more respected. And I know that's probably a topic since singing has first happened, powwows have first happened, is that, it takes a lot. It takes a lot for a drum group to get to a powwow. And there's those that will argue like, well, don't go. Well, it's just like, well, don't dance.
And those are the ones that don't know that feeling that you get from powwow. Those are the ones that judge from the outside and never experience. Or those are the ones that don't place.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, it is like that. You make all these lifelong friends. Like you go to Canada, and they don't have, like how we got Minot and Bismarck only a couple hours away. It's about 4 hours to the next big town,
Yeah.
Like I remember that one year we went to, we got invited to Thunderchild, and we were expecting to find like a hotel to stay in around the edge of the.
Where is Thunderchild located?
It's Saskatchewan. It's
Is that North Saskatchewan?
It's around northern Saskatchewan. It's by it's about 2.5 hours. No, is it 2 hours? Yeah, about 2 hours north of Saskatoon.
And Saskatoon is way north.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we went there and we were expecting to see a hotel we could stay at, or a motel, Shit, it was in the sticks, but we had the people that invited us put us up, and there was more than one house full, so we had about 3 houses they let us stay at, And after that, it was every time we went there, we always had that place to stay. And they come down to our place, and they show up, like us. My mom and dad were old school, so you didn't even need to let us know you were coming in, and just stop in, and you'd always have a bunch of bros laying on the floor. You wake up morning, and a bunch of the bros coming down. Big Bear would always be at and sleeping in our house. High Noon back in the day, and so you always had good friends. You go to Crow, very hospital. Other places in like Washington was a good place. Up in Yakima Nation, all good people putting us up, even taking us out for breakfast in the morning. And you meet them like that, good people in around that area. And that's just from powwow life. Like he was saying, you meet random people. You don't even be your first time meeting them, but they put you up and you make this lifelong bond between them. And you always have that good friend to talk to or visit with when you go down the road to down the trail. Then you get the ones that over push their boundaries.
I guess that could be the pet peeve.
Yeah. I can see where that could be a pet peeve.
Hey man, I'm gonna be there, and they never leave. Damn, got a job here. You living here now?
What? You use me as a reference?
Yeah.
What pet peeve is that?
No, we were just talking about how
You travel and meet good friends on the road, and the bonds you make over the travels.
it's not a pet peeve. That's actually, coming from a singer's point, we're thankful for those people in our lives. And I think for me, like going back to the pet peeves would be mainly the one with the people that set up chairs and don't even use them, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's every powwow. It's just like, man, you know, my family wants to sit down too.
Yeah. And then they'll get those powers where they're like, all right, this area is just for the drum, no chairs. And somehow through the weekend, they'll make their way down.
Yeah, and they'll somehow end up in front of you.
Yeah.
Bro, last summer, I recorded Whitetail Boys at Shakopee Powwow. And I kid you not, there's this whole row of brand new chairs, those ones that are really low to the ground, like beach chairs, set up all weekend. There's 2 rows, 5 chairs in each row. Nobody sat there all freaking weekend, man. And like people the spectators that came to watch the powwow, they're just like, nobody's been here. We're just gonna sit there. So it was like random people sitting there and nobody told them to get out. It's just like, who would set these up, you know? And I don't even think anybody went back for them.
That was Whitetail Boys' just way to get their tan for the weekend.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pet peeves when it comes to powwows and things like that. And I think for me, I've covered pretty much my big ones.
I think the chair is a big pet peeve, like, because they take up so much room, and then you're like, there's nobody even sitting there. Like when we went to Thundering Hills a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
There was a row of chairs in front of us. Nobody sat there all day, not even the evening session. Until we moved them, then they wanted to come sit there. Yeah. Then they're like, you could tell they were mad that we moved them, but we're like, well, there was nobody there, you know, like
all day.
Yeah.
You know, how about this one? Like when powwows don't provide chairs for the singers. I mean, I know that's not really a big thing for us because we've always grown up bringing your own chair and your own, you know, sticks and stuff. So what do you think about that one?
I don't know. Like, I don't mind it, but unless there's, I think the main thing for especially big singers is those white flimsy chairs, man.
One year I seen a guy from Rose Hill. Oh no, Wild Rose. They were sitting next to us when I gathered, and he sat on that little white chair, flat smack on his back, man. He didn't hold him no way, man. All his bros stood up laughing at him, man, in front of the whole pit.
Talking about pet peeves, those chairs are a lot of pet peeves for big singers because you're like, you have to hold your weight. You're like, oh man,
your legs are getting a workout.
Doing wall sits,
working on your squats.
Like, why am I sore? I know one year at Shakopee, man, my bro, I'm not gonna say his name, but he's a big dude.
Try, you can say his name.
It was crazy because we were sitting at the drum. He just got back from getting some food, so he sat down. And he just put his one plate down and he started eating fries. That first fry, holy shit, those legs shot out opposite ways. He went down, but he caught his food. Yeah, he caught his food like that, and he sat up. We were dying laughing, and he's just like, I don't want this no more. So he gave us food. And I've honestly have damaged a chair or two in my life. So
Same.
I got one I gotta ask you guys, and this is just because I thought about it a lot seeing it at powwows. Was what do you guys think about when you're a drum group and you're getting a whistle, but the whistle carrier has a bone whistle? What's your thoughts on that? Because there's sometimes when you hear a lot of guys get mad at them, but when they come in with a whistle, nobody does what they say they're gonna do. Like, you know.
Well, is Roger? Are you familiar with this topic right here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Just wondering.
Well, my thoughts on that is they're separate, used for separate, like a powwow drum whistle. I didn't ever think it was a bone whistle. You know, only time I've ever seen a bone whistle in use was like at ceremony. Yeah. So with me, yeah, somebody using a bone pipe whistle at a powwow is a pet peeve for me, I'd say, because you know, there's a time and place for everything, and you know, and if you have that kind of right, then you should know how to exercise that right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I honestly think that they don't belong.
Because we said it, like, I mean, we said
Yeah.
we said a couple of times that, you know, we're not going to honor those because they're not supposed to be at this powwow, you know, they're meant for ceremony. But, you know, and then when you're in the heat of the moment and that person's, and you know the person who's blowing their whistle, you don't want to leave them hanging.
Right.
And then have them walk away all shamed out, you know. But it is, we have made that statement like, no, we're not going to honor blown whistles.
Yeah.
But then when you're in the heat of it, you're like,
You said everybody gets one.
I guess we're kind of off of pet peeves onto the next subject, but a pet peeve would be for me would be blowing a whistle in a drum contest song. You know what I mean? Like save it for like intertribal non-contest or something. You know, like where they're doing something, and then I mean, I guess if you feel the spirit, you feel the spirit. You know what I mean? But like you gotta, you know, at least be courteous a little bit. You know, like
I think one of the craziest things I seen with that though, it wasn't no contest, but it was like a non-contest, and it was crazy because like I really wasn't paying attention, but all of a sudden my bro, he looks, and he's just like, "What the heck?" And I said, "What happened?" And he's like, "The guy was just singing. He got up and he blew a whistle on his own drum." It was just like, "Oh, okay."
was he an old man?
I've
I've never seen that.
I've seen Jude do that before.
That's why it's quiet. Or
That's the-
I like this song.
I made this song.
This is my
yeah,
song.
I
Hold
made
on.
this song.
You're gonna enjoy it.
Dang, kid.
Dang, I heard that before.
I've been to a
The bone whistle too. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up! I came strapped.
I've seen that before. We were at a powwow and this drum group. I won't say the drum group's name, but after I tell this story, people knew, the other singers will know who I'm talking about after they hear it. But
Grey Buffalo.
we're at the powwow, and the old guy was sitting there with them. And he, as soon as they start singing, you already see him. He kind of starts putting on his stuff, you know. I almost had like a timed out, like put on everything, and he'd do one round. And right on that fourth lead, he'd come in. After that fourth lead, he'd come in and blow his whistle. But it was every intertribal they had, and the intertribal was the same song. They didn't change it to a new song. It was the same song they sang from the last whistle. And that old man would get up and he'd dance around and come in. Must have blew his whistle about, I don't know, say about 14 times that weekend.
Dang. I've never seen that.
And then they end up winning the singing contest. And it was a winner take all, you know. And I remember at the time I was pissed, man. I was like, I don't want to say what I said, but I was pretty mad about it.
That would be pretty sick.
He was their own personal whistleblower.
Yeah, he was like,
You got me, bro.
Yeah. Hey, we're
Again,
gonna
nah,
set up this weekend. You want to come follow us?
come blow us.
I mean, I guess me as a singing judge and something like that happened, I would just be like, you know what? Do the 4 push-ups. We going. You know? And that's just it. You know, if it happened during a contest, you know, just judge the 4 and move on. You know, because you're not there to be like, oh, you know, how does these other 4 leads sound?
But you never know. There's some people out there that might be like, well, they got a whistle, so we're gonna give them a little bit more points. You know, I mean, you would never know because we don't know what people think if they're judging. You know,
Yeah.
we're just there to pick them and then get the ballots from them.
Yeah.
Because like when I would do singing contest, I don't even look at the ballots unless I know there's someone be like, oh well, that person's uncle's singing over there, or that person's
There's a
brother-in-law.
questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll look at it just to make sure it's fair, then give it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I ever altered a singing contest.
I think I secretly call people out to their faces in a joking manner, but I'm still like, "That's your son." I was like, "Oh, I wish my dad would judge this," and he has before, you know. But that's what I was saying. Like that's why I call people out when I see it.
Yeah.
Secretly in the joking manner though. But
I guess that would kind of be I think a pet peeve is just kind of I've seen it all the time, and just sitting around the drum whenever the MC is calling up the judges for a singing contest, and all the bros, and this is kind of like an internal pet peeve. Mine is just like they'll sit there and be like, "Oh, that's a good one." No, they're gonna shaft us. It's just like just fucking take your chance.
Another pet peeve that I have is when announcer really brags up a certain drum.
Yeah.
Like
straight on knees.
Yeah. So like this year, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that noticed, but you're in a contest, man. Let them sing first, then.
Yeah.
I feel like that does add to it too, like getting favor, for everybody talking them up.
But yeah, I get it. I get it, and that's the truth. I mean, it's just as singers that's a pet peeve.
Yeah.
And there's one here's one. There's just I've seen people actually almost like fight about this shit. We almost got into a scrap about it, and it was dumb. It's just like you're practicing a song, and you're going over it, and the drum group that's singing before you comes over, and they say, "Why the fuck you been practicing so loud? Why are you singing so loud?" And it's just like, "Hey, we're going over a song." It's just like, well, fucking stay home if you're gonna practice, and it's like, we're just trying to go over a song. I don't think we're being that loud, and it happens, unfortunately, but it's just like, what can we do to kind of combat that, And it's just like a pet peeve when just
like, for one thing, for us is we don't practice at home.
I was gonna say we
learn our songs right at the drum,
which most drum groups do.
Kind of how it is with Blazing Bear. A lot of the times. I mean, we get together every once in a great while, but a lot of us live far and out. You know what I mean, in the state. So it's kind of hard to get everybody, on the same schedule to find a day to go practice. So most of the time, we sing our songs on the fly too.
I don't even think we've had a singing practice in 10 years.
When was the last one then?
Probably in the village at that Blue House was probably the last one I can remember.
Oh, that was before Young Bear.
Yeah.
That was White Lodge days.
Yeah, no,
Sacred Eagle days.
No way.
Sacred Eagle.
Hey man, honestly though, that Sacred Eagle drum group, man, took us places, man.
Took us all over.
Doing shows.
Michigan, California.
What about
Arizona?
What about Northern Boys?
We never got it off the ground. We had big high hopes.
Northern Boys, like Southern Boys, but Northern.
Yeah. See, we all grew up together. So.
There's one name that got passed up. That probably could have been something cool.
We could have
Southern Cree, like Northern Cree. I could have been something like that.
Yeah.
But we never got it off the ground.
Well, we had some good singers too.
It was
now
hopes.
it's Young Bear and Blazing Bear now, kind of relatable.
I don't know.
Young Blazing Bear.
That Tonez and that JD kind of look alike.
I
It's the glasses.
I just don't stutter as much. I stutter, but not as much.
So back to pet peeves. I guess as a singer, what do you guys think about when like a judge walks away from the drum group at like, let's say the middle of the last push-up?
Only thing I don't like about it is like, well, what if that drum group messes up within that time they walk away?
I've seen that before.
Yeah. And then they can't go back and scribble off, their points. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it because I know I'm a badass singer.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
I'm just kidding.
I'm one of those too.
Nah, but I'm just kidding. But no, I don't mind it. Some people just.
I'm in the same way about it. Like, if I already filled my ballot out and I know what I'm judging on, it shouldn't be a couple beats. And if they're professional enough, I'll walk away because I know they're gonna boom, boom, boom. That's it. But if it's like a trick song or something with a quick beat, I'll wait to hear the trick stop.
Yeah. But mainly like Intertribal is just like everybody should know how the ending's.
Well, yeah, because you got to trying to get to the next spot so you can get a good judging spot instead of being bombarded by recorders.
Well, me being the one getting judged and seeing the judge walk away before the song is over is kind of discouraging.
Yeah,
You know what I
it does give
A
you
little
that feeling.
bit, yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean? Because they asked you to be a judge. You know, not just to come and write a number just because of who you know or the name of the drum group or just because your grandma or grandpa had their CD or their tape. You know what I mean? You're gonna vote for these guys high. You know what I mean? So.
I think that's the bottom. That's the real right there because it could be discouraging.
Yeah.
You know, that's happened a lot. And I think, along with that, maybe that kind of puts you in the mood like, damn, we sounded good, but why'd they walk away?
Yeah, for sure.
I know. For me, like a big part of that kind of goes like when they announce winners, and you feel like you didn't place as high or you didn't place at all, and it's like, damn, I thought we sounded good.
I think that one was us guys at Thunder and Hill, man, because we come out jamming, you know what I mean. And then like not Northern Crew, Young Spirit sounded like Young Spirit, they're high and got that like that higher scream
signature sound.
Yeah. So they sounded good, and I was after they started announcing winners. I was like, man, we should at least have top two outside of us guys and Young Spirit, just because of how we sounded. And man, we got beat by a Southern drum group, and there was just a throw together crew. Like there was like 7 of them. And it was just a throw together crew, and I was just like, how the heck they beat us, But no, us guys, we haven't been singing consistently for like 3 years, 4 years.
But I guess that kind of comes into the staying relevant thing.
Yeah.
You just can't take 5, 6 years, even a year off, because there's going to be a drum group that's consistent all freaking summer, winter, spring, the whole damn year.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest part, is just staying consistent.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, we're getting older, we have our lives, we have our families, and, it is a big sacrifice. Roger knows that, coming from the South to come share their music up here, that's a 19-hour drive. And it's just, it's a big sacrifice.
I drove 10 of those hours. Thank you very much.
Y'all need to get behind the wheel more.
Yeah.
But my bros were safe and we made it.
You'd have been like,
they got to sleep though.
Be like Jeremy, wake up in Fargo and start driving back south. You finally realize he's almost at Sioux Falls. That was this morning, bro. They're supposed to be here at like 10 and 12. I texted him. I was like, where you guys at? He's like, man. It's like, I got in the driver's seat and started driving. He's like, this whole time I was going south. He's like, I thought we was going towards Bismarck. And he's like, finally realized it till it was almost to Sioux Falls.
They passed my hometown though.
Yeah. He's like, then I had to turn around. So he's like, we're like 2.5 hours behind.
They've been to Sisseton 3 times.
Sasito.
But yeah, I guess that's probably the time that we have for now.
What about nah, just kidding.
But I
got one more pet peeve, man. One of them is when you're sitting at the drum and you're watching the dancers and people come and stand in front of you. Like, man, we're trying to watch.
Yeah.
Everyone's sitting down in the background.
That's one of my pet peeves too.
It's like, hey, man, out of the way, and then they're like, kind of give us that side eye, like, fuck you.
You're just a singer.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Yeah. But that was at gatherings, like, man, we was telling people to get down like all day, and they just give us that side eye.
Honestly, man, gatherings they look like there was no room for anybody up in that joint, man. I heard you had to like run to the freaking, once the gate was open, they like get your spots and shit, man.
I believe it, man, because there was a big ass line that morning just to get to the parking that morning when we got there, huh? Yeah. We was in line to park for like an hour. So we didn't even get in. We couldn't even register. We had somebody else register, and freaking we was still in line. He's like, I was just texting Russ. I was like, what group are we? Because if we're group A,
you're out.
Yeah.
You're in first day, right?
Yeah.
And then B, you're out till
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
So he was like, I kept calling. He's like, we're group B. I was like, all right, we're coming back this evening. We don't even have to go to the powwow. So we left. But they give you like a $25 voucher for your wristbands.
Yeah.
If you don't pay that, you're paying what, 40, 50? So I was like, yeah, I'll get all the wristbands. Like, because I thought it was like 25, 20, 25. There was like 9 of us. I was like, you guys just pay me back later. And it was like almost $500. I was like, oh man, I can't do that. Man. You guys gotta get your wristbands.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, you got you. Yeah, I guess, do we have time? Anybody else want to share something real quick? Pet
I was trying to
peeve?
think about the pet peeves we were talking about earlier, but I'll start listening to your guys' stories.
I think a pet peeve is when you're jamming and someone tries to make you skid over. Like, man, like come in
You got
last
those
minute.
singers.
Yeah.
Hey, you seen that one video, Walking Buffalo, when they're jamming at Rocky Boy? They're getting judged, and
Oh, and that guy comes in.
just comes in and
They're like
tries to.
looking at him. They don't even know who he is.
It's like, get out.
And that look he gives, like,
Yeah.
I seen our bro do that. He's one of our bros. We all know him. I won't say his name to embarrass him, but
What's it?
but you guys know him. And we're at Spirit Lake Powwow. I was singing with Yellowface, and there was Mystic River. They were
Oh, I know who it is.
they were sitting down a couple drums down, and shit. He came first. He came to our drum. He was all drunk. And right there we were singing contest. We were singing like that, and he comes over and he's asking for a drumstick. Where I look at him and we're being judged. I said, he looks at us and he looks at all the judges. He's like, he slowly turns down.
Disappear.
Yeah.
And then he goes down to Mystic River and he does the same thing with Mystic River. And they end up escorting him out. But yeah,
Crazy.
one of those crazy bros.
What about what you guys' thought on lead singers not taking the first lead?
What is a lead singer, I guess?
Well, I guess if you really want to break it down, like the person that takes the drum, that maybe like you guys all know who's who, you know what I mean? And you know who's drum group that is.
Who that belongs to, that name
Yeah, so
belongs
say
to.
like John David, he's the lead singer for Blazing Bear. Him and Jeremy,
Yeah.
they both started that drum group. Well, we know John David takes the first lead, right? That's the lead singer.
Yeah.
Go to all these other drum groups, they don't. So, and you guys know, like we're singers, man. We know who's who, But there's a lot of drum groups out there that don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess it kind of depends, like,
Aaron thought you
It's
know,
like,
Is that a
that's
touchy
crazy.
subject?
Yeah, well, a little bit like, well, for me right now, it's kind of a little touchy subject because for the past 2 powwows, JD has been letting me start the songs, and I'm still kind of trying to figure it out, about like what's going on with that. But I mean, it's cool, I can handle it. It's just unusual.
Well,
But-
I think what we're talking about is like these guys have been singing for years. So just like say that you're the lead singer of your old drum group, Wakpekute.
yeah.
Everybody knows you're gonna take the first lead, right? Now, if you don't take the first lead, they're gonna be like, "Well, what the fuck is he sliced out?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, well, why isn't he taking the first lead? Like,
Because I'm old.
well, that's the thing. Like, if I know I'm sliced out, I'm not gonna take first lead.
Yeah.
But if I know I got it, I'm gonna take first lead, or I'm gonna lead somewhere in. And there's lead singers that don't lead
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess
What they do the slams. Nah, just kidding.
I guess maybe it's like you said, JD and Jeremy have started Blazing Bear.
Yeah.
You, Jude, and Nelson started Young Bear.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, you guys contribute something, you know, as a lead singer. You know, it doesn't have to be leads. It doesn't have to be slams. It could be songs.
Yeah.
You know, you can be the core maker of the song.
Like Jude, he just does the slams.
Does the slams and the woo.
Yeah.
I do a lot more than that, man.
I hit the woo.
Oh, here we go. Here we
I
go.
don't know if you guys noticed.
And that's gonna wrap us up today.
Before we get him started. But yeah, man, it's all about contribution.
Yeah.
You know, and like my dad, you know, if he was here and he wanted to set a walk back with that, I would put him as a lead singer.
Yeah.
And because it was originally his group. And for us, we just carried it on. And, you know, when there's a time when I lost my voice, I'm still slowly getting it back. And I gave the reins to my little brother and he was tearing it up. So for me, it's like to be able to kind of be that guidance for him and be like, yo, you know what? You got to set it off. You got to fucking push it out there because, you know, me, I like freaking just going out the gate, you know, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess back to that, it's like what you can contribute, you know.
Yeah, I think like what he's talking about with John David and him is like as a singer, you get to a point where like, man, I don't have to prove myself, you know. And I'm pretty sure we're all there, you know. We just want to sing now. As to where there's younger kids that are coming up,
They're hungry.
Yeah, they're hungry to prove themselves or to show what they can do, or you know, like I was like that. I was like that when we first started out, like because when I lost my voice when I was like 13, and then get it back. It's like, man, I just want to sing. I just want to, you know, show people I can sing, you know, and that's what we did. And now it's just like, have somebody else lead, you know?
Yeah.
But
well, you put in time, man. I mean, you've been singing for how long? You know, I've been singing since I can fucking remember.
Yeah.
You know?
Same, yeah.
I think I was 3 years old.
I was 1.
So
I was still in the womb.
shit.
Well, I guess we got to wrap this up, but
No,
I
I
want-
don't.
I want to say thank you to the bros, Jude and Tonez, and our guest, Roger, for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Any closing remarks, fellas?
I just want to give a shout out to the IC building here for allowing us to utilize the building. Give a shout out to all the Powwow bros out there. Have fun this weekend and every weekend that you're singing. Just enjoy it, man. Because sometimes life happens and you don't get to sing for 3 or 4 years, and
You get out of shape and sing.
yeah, like Jude was like, man, I gather. He's like, something's wrong, man. I can't sing.
For real,
He's like, man, I need to keep singing. I was like, well, you're out of shape, you know. Voice is out of shape, man. But you know, life happens. Enjoy the powwow, because when the time comes for you to change your lifestyle around, you're not ready for it, and you'll never be ready for it. But it's always for the good, always for the better. So just enjoy singing, enjoy the powwows until life gets serious, and then you're stuck at home.
Just enjoy the
And
love.
that's not what the lady, man. My lady let me powwow, but
you get older, you finally appreciate, you know, the quiet times when you, instead of being all hectic, eating fast food on the road 24/7.
for real, I don't miss that.
Russian roll call and all that.
Yeah.
All right, Jude, any closing thoughts, bro?
Probably just see you guys out there. Remember all these things we were saying out of joking manner. Don't get offended. We're all here to brighten everyone's day and have a good subject to talk about.
We're open to topics.
Yeah, we are open to topics, and you guys want us to talk about some. We're starting it out, so
Topics and guests.
Yeah.
have a good weekend, and catch you on the next one.
Cool. Brother Roger, you got anything you want to add, bro?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the 3 affiliated tribes, the facility and the facilitators here, the host, I want to give a shout out to the head drum judge this weekend at Four Bears. Hopefully he's healthy and happy. and then I'll leave y'all with this. If you don't use it, you lose it. Aho.
Hit it.
All righty, guys. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Blazing.